just like, I'm going to look at the list. I was like, wow, this looks very similar to my last class.
You just have like the faces printed up there on your computer, just looking every new semester.
This was in my class. When was in my class? Oh, this was in my class. Yikes.
What up, Doan? Welcome to the Top Podcast on this very happy Detroit day. I'm your host, Rob, and joining with me are our host, Lou.
I don't have anything Spanish, so I'm just going to say hola.
And Mike.
Lo siento, no rasco coche y también sol un mochilo dos papas fritas.
Dang.
I knew some of that. Is that from a TV show?
It's adapted from a TV show. It is not exact.
Okay, gotcha.
Loosely translated, that is, I'm sorry, I do not scratch my car, and also the sun, one backpack, two french fries.
And along with it being Detroit Day, it is also International K-9 Veterans Day to all our military dog service men and bitches out there. And Happy Ken Day for all you Barbie fans.
It's also Ramadan, too.
Oh.
I think it's a little bit bigger than the rest of those.
Well, when I Googled international days, did not come up. So they got to take it up with whatdayisIt.com or whatever it was.
That's fair.
So each week we like to start off the podcast with an icebreaker. Feel free to ask us on our socials or comment on the YouTube page. And if we read off on the podcast or ask it on the podcast, you'll get a plus 5 points to be in the top topper at the end of the year. This week I want to know, who was your favorite professor and or teacher? My favorite professor is known by Mr. G, is what we called him back in community college. And the reason why he's my favorite professor is he is the person that kind of like fostered my love for learning and education. And before that, I was always told I was too stupid to do things. Like I wasn't allowed to take physics in high school. They took my not caring and just slacking off and, being a high schooler with ADHD, they took that as me being stupid. But this professor's like, hey, I think you could actually do well at this, and kind of like taught me. And without him, I don't think I would have gone down the path and, gotten an engineering degree and all that. So shout out to Mr. Goldsworthy.
Mr. G.
Mr. G.
Without him,
Yep. And
Rob would have no student debt.
Oh, gosh. Screw you, Mr. No. Well, no, I probably would have just had student debt for a degree that earns less money, so it would have been worse.
Fair enough.
I had a couple professors that were really cool, but I don't think they were so life-changing. I've had a couple of teachers that I think really guided me, so I'm going to go with Miss Ballard, because I had her for 3rd grade and 4th grade.
She's not the one who took away your fire truck privileges,
yeah,
is she?
Did she take away the dog?
No.
Okay.
No, that was Miss... I was going to pick her, but I've already talked about her in the past, so I switched it. So I was going to switch it up. Yeah, that was Miss Ashholder, but my dad used to call her
Wow. Okay, I was going to say, there's...
I heard assholder, so I mean, we're basically there.
Yeah, Affholder.
Oh,
Affholder. Yeah, but my dad used to call her... Not into her face, that would have been wild, but he used to say assholder.
Honestly, from what I hear from parent-teacher conferences, that's not too far from the it's not too far-fetched.
Yeah, it's just something interesting to tell your 2nd grader child, but, they'll make mistakes here. But yeah, so Miss Ballard, so she was this beautiful woman. She was I could just tell she was very smart. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if you've ever had crushes on any of your teachers, but I was head over heels for Miss Ballard. And I remember when she brought her husband over, I wanted to, end his life.
Oh my.
At 3rd grade. I was like, to the death. This guy needs to leave. Miss Ballard is mine. I love her. She had this want to write questions for standardized testing, and she would use me to answer questions for her. And it just made me feel real special, and she was just an awesome teacher.
Respect on the murder. I like it. Where'd you hide the body?
I was only in 3rd grade, so the best I could do was
under your bed. Got it.
Under my bed.
I was gonna say under the desk.
Yeah.
Left the janitor.
No, he was a pretty big guy from what I remember.
Especially
Mom's
as a 3rd
coming.
grader.
Sweep the corpse. Sweep the corpse under the rug.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Why don't you tell us about your mom being your favorite teacher?
Sorry, Mom. Fun fact about my time as a homeschooler, actually. I was such a rambunctious punk that my dad eventually expelled me from homeschool, which is why I went to public school for high school, because he was just like, I'm done. This idiot is just causing my wife too much emotional stress. I'm putting a stop to this. So I only have 4 years of teachers to choose from, but I will probably... I didn't think to go back and think about which teacher I was the most attracted to. It's not a bad route to take, but I'm going to go with Miss Wakefield, who I've already talked about on the podcast in our times we got in trouble or broke the rules, allegedly. She was my 11th grade English teacher, and then I also had her for humanities, which was what's it called when you don't have to take elective? It was an elective I took my senior year. She was kind of the start of me really getting into English, which I think I can kind of look back on as a pivotal point in me eventually getting to the point where I thought I could be a writer and I thought I could actually take a stab at it. Because I think it's a well agreed upon thing in writing that to be a good writer, you have to read a lot. And I don't think I would have read as much as I had it not been for Miss Wakefield. Also, she was a little irreverent and just kind of funny. So I jived with that.
Shout out to all the teachers and professors out there. This week on the Top Podcast, we're going to talk about our top 5 classes that we would like to teach at, say, a community college. And I think I'm putting this disclaimer for me, and I think I can say it for the rest of the guys here, that none of us actually have the experience or probably the depth of knowledge to actually teach these classes. If you said you're teaching tomorrow, I would be a deer caught in the headlights. But I like this. For me, it's something that if I was going to be a teacher, these would be topics I'd do, and they're kind of off the wall in my case. And I just have to clarify for my list, usually we go top 5 and, number 1 being our number 1 choice. But I had to get a little meta with it this week. Because at the time, I didn't know that Mike pulled a Herman Melville and went on a boat and then lost all of his top 5 picks and, had to think about at the last minute. So I ranked them in which my number 5 is the one I thought would be most likely to be taken.
Ah.
And that class is how to cook a steak.
Just steak.
Yep, just steak. Well, here's the thing.
Nice.
There's 15 weeks of class, right? Usually 15, 16 weeks. You have your syllabus class and your final class. And this would be like a 3-hour class once a week. So there are definitely more than 15 ways you can cook a steak, especially if you count in like a Philly cheese steak, stuff like that. You can get real creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to pick one specific class I would teach each week. And I think the start off during the syllabus week would be just the different cuts of steak. That's something I've looked into and forgotten. And so I would like to know that more for myself and, teach to other people so I can be like, oh, this is how you tell if it's a ribeye, a T-bone, a skirt steak and everything like that. So that is how I think that'd be a fun class and you could do that right away off the first classes. Also, it's free steaks for me because, the students would pay the extra fee for buying all the steaks and all that when they sign up for the class. And who doesn't want to eat steaks for a class? And for the final, it'd be very simple. It'd be cook a medium rare steak, and I get to taste it and see how it is. And that's how your final is rated or graded.
Everybody has to bring up their dish, and you have to test it. And if it's bad, you throw it.
You're like, what is this donkey? Or whatever Gordon Ramsay said.
Yeah, you did good. What do you eat? A sandwich?
There you go.
I gave some serious thought to this topic. I ultimately shied away because for me, I thought I would teach it as a lab and less as a class.
Well, yeah,
not that that's
lab.
really
so
an important difference.
We would cook it, so it'd probably be like a fall semester type thing. Or I guess a summer class and cut it down even more.
But I didn't think to do the different cuts, and I felt like I wasn't gonna be able to come up with enough to talk about it. I think if you did different style, or if you did different cuts of meats and you did different styles of cooking, you could easily fill out a syllabus, and I wish I'd thought harder about it. I absolutely approve of this pick.
Thank you.
Michael's stamp of approval.
And that's why I had to put it at my number 5, because I was afraid. But
why is your stamp sound
It's the bad Wi-Fi. It sounded very dry on my end.
Dude, I think a really cool addition you could do is bringing in a half a cow and have them butcher it.
They have to butcher it?
Ooh, yeah.
I almost took a butchering class in college, because my community college was actually well known for the culinary arts. And they had a class for butchering, but it took there's 2 or 3 preliminary classes I had to take, prerequisites. And that was my last semester, so I'm like, darn. Can't.
That would be really cool. I want to do this is a little random, but I want to get to a point where I buy a freezer, and then you can buy a half a cow. Yeah. You can share it with other people. I think that'd be really cool.
Mike, what is your number 5?
Most of these, I thought to myself, wow, I tend to get on these kicks. Right, I'll find something and I'll get obsessed with it, and then I'll move on. But I'll be really deeply into something for 2, 3, sometimes 4 years at a time. So I'll acquire more knowledge about a subject than just somebody who's a casual fan of something. But then I'll just move on to my next obsession. And so there's lots of things that I'm like, I really like this, but I don't feel like I know enough about it to teach a class. So part of this was things that I would like to know enough about or be better at to the extent I could teach a class. So there's a little bit of like, hey, if I could self-improve, what would I pick? And I have always had an eye for interior design. It's just a weird little quirky fact about me, and I think that'd be a really fun class to teach. I'm pretty sure it is a class that you can take at Western. I dated a girl when I was like 18, 19, whose dad had taken interior design classes. Yeah, for you guys, you've both been to my apartment. Mackenzie has picked out a lot of the things that we have, but I tend to have the larger say in where things go and how things are laid out. And I just I have a decent sense of spatial reasoning and how things will look good and complementary together. I love rearranging apartments. If you ever need or want to rearrange your house or apartment, rearrange your furniture, give me a call. I'll be there. I would love to help, especially on a weekend. If it's like, hey, come over, we'll crack open a 6-pack and just move the couch around. I don't know why, but that makes me happy. It's something I enjoy doing, and it'd be fun to teach a class and really understand the principles that I just kind of have a vague understanding of at the moment.
One of the first things that I thought of when I went to your apartment for the first time was how well it was laid out. I'm being dead honest with you. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
I think a sleeper that you have is that little, because we had a conversation in that little area, but where you have these like really two old chairs right next to your desk. Mm-hmm. It's like spaced enough to where it doesn't feel like I'm dating you, but it's like close enough where it.
Yeah, if you wanted to get a kiss, he could easily lean in there.
You would have to lean pretty hard.
It'd be a stretch, but you could get it done. It's actually, I love that nook.
That's why they use it for the long distance situationships.
Yep, and it's a fantastic podcasting area on the rare occasion that you have somebody a one-on-one podcast you can do. So I don't get to use it for podcasting often, except for the fact that it's actually where I sit to podcast for the show now, because my desk chair is not as comfortable as the armchair. So I'm actually sitting in one of those chairs as we speak.
Lou, what's your number 5?
No explanation, but just the fact that I love all these things and I would love to just do them with other people is my number 5 would be crocheting class. I'd probably honestly ask Mike to help with this, but I would just crochet like this room. I would bring in a bunch of couches. I would have like really cool TVs, and I would just, anybody that wanted to crochet, I would teach them the basics, but then after that, go on YouTube, find what works for you, and show me your projects.
Mike, did you pick up crocheting?
I think he was referring to the setting up of the room.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was.
Because I was also super confused. I was like, huh?
Well, I know your mom.
Crocheted in my life.
I know your mom. You never know if she got another convert.
She tried. Believe me.
That's funny. Yeah, I would do like teas. I don't know, like chamomile teas. Yeah, some TV shows that I thought of was like The Great British Baking Show or Our Planet. It's like real chill, like a chill vibe.
Would you have like incense around there? Because I feel like you just try to make it as chill as possible.
Yeah, I don't know if they would let me in a school, but
who cares?
Maybe.
I mean, for mine, I'm cooking meat. I'm at one point you'd have to grill. Do a wood pellet grill with a sear.
I'm assuming that you would have done it in the kitchen, but you're just it's just
going
a regular
to the parking
classroom.
lot. Yep, a regular classroom.
I feel like my class would get filled up quick. Even if people who don't know how to crochet, I think it'd just be a really cool hangout spot.
Do you guys think you could give out an F? Like, Lou, do you think you have it in your heart to give someone an F if they spent, 10 hours on this crochet, but it just looks awful?
No, there's no way. And it's all about, for me, with college, it's all about effort. There's no way I could give an F. If you didn't show up to class, then yeah, I could give you an F, but there's no way.
Do I think I could give an F? 2 reasons that's funny. 1, I'm known for not giving a about things. 2, I could give somebody an F and I could sleep just fine.
I knew it would be more of a Lou thing.
Good to know. Not to take any of your classes, Mike.
Well, here's the thing. I would want people to fail. I'm so sorry.
Whoa!
No,
I had some professors like that, and no one liked them.
You even tried.
I would want people to pass. I'd want them to do well, but I just have no leniency for people who are going to blow off the class and not try hard. If you can't hack it, you can't hack it. I'm not going to pass you so you can go out into the world and be a bad interior decorator. Get out of here, man. I got people to I got people's homes to protect. I'm a hero.
Sorry, little Timmy, your room's not feng shui enough. Fail.
But my grandpa, he died this semester. I don't care.
Probably died from the couch being in the wrong place.
You can take it again next semester, and you only got one more grandpa probably, so you should be okay.
My number 4, none of you guys are gonna have this one, so I don't know why I didn't pop it up on the. And it's just something that's very near and dear to my heart, and it's the history of Michigan.
Objection.
Objection? You got the hit?
No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say no way. I love my home state. I love just random factoids about it. So I think, and I like history. So all these things make me feel like I could teach a class and be relatively simple. One thing I'm working on is sometimes when I'm not communicating well enough and not getting the point across, I can get frustrated with more myself than the person that's not understanding what I'm saying. So that's one reason why I don't have any super difficult classes on here, because I don't want to be the teacher that just lost it in the middle of the class and ended up on TikTok or something like that. This one will be very easy and laid back. Unless you're from Ohio, then that's an automatic fail. No.
Yeah, approve.
And that leads
trying
into,
to convert.
as long as they convert, that'd be okay. But that leads me into one of my classes, and that would be Michigan versus Ohio, 2 states bred to hate each other. Go all the way back to when there was the Michigan-Ohio War, also known as the Toledo War, back when Michigan was just a territory and Ohio was a state, and they fought over the Toledo Strip. That's how the Michigan got the UP and all that. And I'd go all the way up to modern times to just kind of, I don't want to say hatred, but there's definitely like some fun discourse between them and like fun disdain for them. Or I don't actually dislike people from Ohio, but if you say you're from Ohio, I'm just like, oh, you're one of those. You're an Ohioan. Ugh. And it'd be a fun thing to go up to, like, especially in sports when it's a huge rivalry. My final, not that creative, would just be a basic multiple choice test. Easy to grade, especially if I get you guys the Scantrons, and I don't really know how else to flavor it, because I guess you could write a paper, but I think that'd be the easiest.
I can confidently say, field trips. That might actually change what I was about to say.
What field trips would you take them on?
Definitely, you'd have to go to, Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford Museum. If I could do that, I'd also maybe try to get, like, the Ford plant, kind of just downtown Detroit, and I don't know, I don't think you could take, like, a trip to Flint to see like the old Chrysler factories and things like that. So I'd kind of have to keep it around the Detroit area, which is, if I was teaching it, it'd probably be around there. So go to the River Rouge plant is what's called. You go to, Ford Field, Comerica, and just talk about different sports teams, or definitely Ann Arbor to the big house, because that would be, obviously the biggest rivalry nowadays between the two states is at the big house.
I can say with renewed confidence, I would probably not take this class.
No.
I would not take this class, but I do think it would be it'd be a really cool class. It's just not for me. We have
the history side. You don't think, like, you're not really a big history guy?
I have a coworker. You know how most jobs you have one coworker who's just like, man, that person can talk. This individual spends an inordinate amount of time at everybody's desk, but my desk is the one with candy that people are supposed to come chit chat at for a little bit. And oh my gosh. So many Michigan fun facts, and they're just facts. So at this point, I am kind of actively annoyed by random facts about Michigan history. Okay. It has nothing to do with Michigan history. It's just, oh my goodness. Oh, not you. I don't like, yeah, it's just like, this person will come up and just start spouting stuff about lighthouses, and I'm just like, I don't care.
True. Michigan does have the most lighthouses of any state.
They do, and I've been to some, and they're really cool.
Especially in the winter.
I've never been in the winter, but I'd imagine they're pretty cool.
Because the waves will still crash until they freeze, so basically it's just huge, like, ice. It's not like a cloud, but it's like, it goes past the lighthouses and all that, and it looks pretty cool. Check it out on the YouTube if you're watching right now. If not, Google Michigan Lighthouse Winter. Sorry, was that a fun fact? I didn't mean to, step on your toes.
Oh, no, you're good. I dropped my toothpick, and I don't want it to be sitting in the carpet. And so I'm a blind guy looking for a toothpick.
Lou, would you take my class at least, or you also not
yeah, so I think, I think a lot of that kind of stuff is based off of what kind of teacher it is. And I think you'd be a pretty cool teacher. I don't know, like, how you would... Did you talk about, like, tests and stuff? Or was this the final test?
That was the final. I would probably have more, like, most of it based off of homework, because especially in engineering college, I think just STEM in general, 80% of your grade was based on tests, and I'm not a good test taker, so I would have it be mostly homework and try to make it as fun as possible.
Yeah, so I could never remember dates or, like, places. I've never been good at that, but I could write a pretty decent paper and, do my homework when I need to, so yeah, I'd take your class. I think it'd be pretty fun.
Cool. Random question, Mike. Bring it back to your office. How often do you eat the candy at your desk, or is it like the granny candy?
No, it's good stuff, man. I, at this point, have managed to just pretend it does not exist. Just because the first couple weeks I was having a little too much, but like candy doesn't make you feel good. And when you're just sitting at the desk, I can just tell like, ugh, I'm feeling sluggish and kind of gross because I've been having too much candy. And so at this point, the bowl's not real. I check it in the morning, I top it off, and then it just poof, it's gone until the next day.
Question: would it be unprofessional if we bought 50 of the top podcast stickers, which you can find on the Redbubble? If we just put those at the desk for people to take, would that be against company policy?
That'd be wild.
I don't know if it'd be against company policy, but I'd feel really awkward about it.
Yeah,
Maybe make a logo that isn't our face.
Yeah. No, we do have a free lending library that we're setting up in one of the break rooms, and you best believe before I leave that job, I'm slipping a copy of my book onto the shelf.
Can you put a sticker inside the book cover at least?
Honestly, I like that idea a lot. Actually, I'm in. In fact, we'll get 50 stickers, and I'll put them in all of the book covers.
You hide them around the office. He already left, you know.
I like it.
Well, Mike, what's your number 4?
A recent history of sitcoms, 1980s to the present.
Very cool.
How many sitcoms were there before? I guess like the Andy Griffith Show, Everyone Loves Lucy.
I think the 80s were, there was definitely some 70s stuff. And really, it'd be honestly, it's just the late 80s. It'd be Cheers. Cheers is all I care about.
Overrated.
No, I think it's rated. Like, I enjoy it. I don't think it's the greatest show of all time or anything, but it's a good one.
Is that the Everybody Knows Your Name one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody. Okay.
And it's also kind of a Beatles type thing where it's like it kind of shaped the format of a lot of sitcoms going forward. So I think it definitely deserves to be in a conversation about the history of sitcoms.
That's fair.
But ultimately, like, I love sitcoms. 90s and 2010s are my two favorites. Although the 2000s also got some really, like, the last 30 years, there's been some fantastic sitcoms. I think it'd be fun to go over the big ones, right? You got to talk Cheers, Frasier, Seinfeld, Friends, The Office, Parks and Rec, How I Met Your Mother.
Wilfred.
Yeah, exactly. The big, commercial successes. But also, I think it'd be fun to get into some of the more niche stuff and really dig in and explore, just have a super broad understanding of the topic. I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be fascinating. Your homework is just watching TV, that's pretty cool. I think it'd be a fun class to take. And that is the extent of anything I think there is to say about it.
Would it be like a paper for your final? What would it be?
I would be tempted to make you write a paper on who is the boss, indeed.
But that doesn't insert Abed's thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's Angela. I'd be tempted to do that, but that might just be like a random test throughout the class. It would probably be, I think it'd be fun to write a paper just kind of detailing the full history and big 30-page paper on sitcoms.
Oh my.
That gets me excited. I think that'd be really interesting. It'd probably be something like that. It'd be a big hefty paper with lots of citations and stuff.
I had that for, I think it was my international governments thing, and that was the whole grade for the whole class, which is a big old paper.
Normally, I don't like writing big papers, right? That is not my thing, but if it was a subject that I was really fascinated by, I think I would love writing that paper. And so that's the only reason I do the paper, is because it's a topic that I'm passionate about and that I would actually enjoy the research for. And so it wouldn't bother me as much because of what the topic was. And so because I think it's fun and I'm the professor, that's what the final would be.
My thought was, and I this could just be a me thing, but like get in groups and then you guys have to recreate the pilot of your favorite sitcom. That'd just be fun. And then it's like,
cool.
But you're the professor.
Maybe that'd be a fun midterm.
Gosh, this blow-off class is going to have the most work out of any class there that
I was
semester.
thinking the same thing. Yeah, immediately drop out of your class as soon as I saw it.
Well, the syllabus is just
is like
thunk, it hits and just smacks like a plate.
This is how I get about my obsessions, though. Is like I want to know all of it, and I want to just be able to spend 8 hours a day just studying it and like learning more. And so for me, if you're taking a class, hopefully it's something where you're the same way, where it's like, I want you to be thinking about the class even when you're not in the class and excited to show up and talk about
Mike,
it.
We did say community college, not doctoral dissertation.
I don't care, man.
What the heck is
He's
going on
preparing.
here?
Pre-doctorate.
I'll have a birthday cake. Need another clue? This is no way to teach accounting.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Community. I believe it's episode 3 or 4, but it's the one where Jeff finds the ultimate blow off class. It's like literally the professor's just like, seize the day. That's all that matters. Yeah. And Jeff is trying to he's like, I have to plan in advance how to appear spontaneous. You know, I'd be trying to prove that I deserve to be teaching this class at Yale for sure.
Mike might have the pepper on Rate My Professor, but he's definitely got a 1 out of 5 for workload. Lou, what is your number 4?
It is Anime 101.
Ooh.
Pretty much, honestly, I should have ejected him because it's almost the same thing. There's a ton of anime out there. I just think it'd be fun to just go through some of it and see what's good, see what's not good. I have a couple things that I like to rate my anime on: fighting choreography, animation, character development, pacing, voice acting, and plot or story writing. That's how I rate my anime. So we would just go around and, talk about anime, and then I'd probably start off with Full Metal Alchemist, just because that's a lot of people's number ones, and then just go from there.
Would you be a strictly subbed or dubbed, or does it not matter?
I went from dubbed to being a pretentious sub, and then now as I'm trying to
what you heard it here first. Lose a sub. But he's pretentious about it.
All you toppers out there, lose a sub.
And then now as I'm trying to do things and watch anime, I'm going back to dub.
What would your final paper be? Would it be like Mike and a 30-page dissertation on it?
No, fudge that.
Well, it's a 101 class. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Well, yours is 101 as well.
I just said you said there are other things than just 101s at community college.
Not that we could teach.
I would do dress up as your favorite anime character. We would just do a cosplay.
Oh gosh.
And then we would eat Japanese food and Naruto run down the hallway. Oh, and you would have to be clean.
I was gonna say, I feel like
there's gonna be a
shower.
There's gonna be a smell test every day, and if you don't pass the smell test,
is that like a letter grade down?
Class.
So you get
a letter grade
shots.
down. Yep. And there's no, if I do get women in the class, which most likely I won't. If I do get women in the class, you have to respect them. You cannot ooh-woo them the whole time.
There's going to be a lot of dudes failing your class. Lou's inability to give an F is going to come into his innate need to protect people, and he's not going to know what to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do, but yeah, none of that creepy stuff.
I'm just picturing your students, Naruto, running down the hall going, "Weeb!"
Lou, could I bring my body pillow with me, or is that a no-go?
You can bring your body pillow, but it has to be appropriate. I guess these are going to be... I think this is a class where it's going to have so much rules versus the rest of my classes. I'm going to really have to put my foot down on something.
Instead of a syllabus, it's a contract.
Yeah.
Everything, the class itself, super chill. The code of conduct, longer than my final exam.
Just I'm going to look at the sexual predators list. I was like, wow, this looks very similar to my last class.
You just have the faces printed up there on your computer, just looking every new semester.
This was in my class. What was in my class? Oh, this was in my class. Yikes.
Let Lou know which anime he should speak on in his class in the comments for all you anime lovers out there.
There you go. Yeah, let me know.
I think one of the better animes, it's Rob would even say underrated, is How I Met Your Mother.
It's a good one.
Next, please.
Because, animes and sitcoms basically the same.
Yep. Question, Lou. Since Trainer Cantwell is on the prowl to just have a runaway victory at the toppers, how many points does he get if he watches all of Full Metal Alchemist subbed?
Brotherhood, I think there's around 100 episodes, maybe a little less.
Oh, would you go Brotherhood or
how many points
original?
Do we... Oh, Brotherhood. I mean, the original is good too, but Brotherhood I think is just more coherent, and it's almost kind of too different. How many points did we give him for?
I think we were giving him a point an hour for each of the books.
Yeah. That's tough. You really threw me out there. There's 64 episodes.
100 episodes, you would just 64. 64 episodes?
Yeah, 64 episodes.
And then 3 episodes equals a point, so 1/3 of 64 is 21.
Yeah, we'll give you
21 points.
21 points, Cantwell, if you can do it. Or whoever gets to it first, leave it down in our comments, let us know, and we'll give you 21 points. I
would like to say, I think dubbed should be allowed for
half points, 10 points.
It's hard for some of us to read subtitles. Okay,
but if you do dubbed, you have to run down a hallway and go weeb.
No, you don't.
That seems fair.
No,
that seems fair.
Sorry.
I hope this
you got
died.
voted, Lou. Got
I hope
majority.
this really dies. My gosh.
Now, to be clear, anybody who sends us a video of them doing that will immediately get 10 topper points and be featured on the next episode.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Lou, for all this great idea.
You're very welcome.
All right, so my number 3, let's just all talk about cinema, because my number 3 is fantasy and sci-fi in cinema. Who doesn't like, I mean, there's a lot of classics out there, and you can really get some pretty entertaining movies, and they don't have to be good, but they'll be entertaining. But one of the classes I'll have is Star Wars, space fantasy or science fiction.
Oh, it's so fantasy.
It's a science fiction.
It's the most it is the most classic fantasy story ever told.
I agree with you.
You could almost say cliche.
Well, I would agree with you, but most people that aren't deep into nerdums would probably say sci-fi just because it's simply space. That's in their brain, that's sci-fi.
The evil wizard kidnaps the princess, and the young farm boy has to go with the good wizard and learn magic and use his magic sword and save the princess. It's a fairy tale. It's not even like
Have you seen the person that's talked about this? Because it sounds like you quoted the person that I remember hearing.
I'm essentially quoting Jacob, and I'm sure that he has seen that. So,
or to bring her up again, I know Mike's mother is also very adamant about Star Wars and if it's a sci-fi or not.
Is she?
Yep.
Huh.
At least we've had that
I'll
conversation.
ask her about it.
She seemed not as enthused about Lord of the Rings, which would 100% be on the that list. That's three classes right there. Bam, bam, bam. Probably would have to do theatrical just for the time. I don't want to take up the whole semester. And for the final, you'd have to read one book in this, sci-fi or fantasy book, and you have to give me a paper and talk about the differences between the movie and the book and how they did at translating/adapting the source material.
I would be all over that ish. Are you kidding me? That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, so if you wanted to say Dune's popular right now, you would have to read the book, which I think might turn some people away, and then write about what's different about it. Lou, yes or no on this class?
Yes, I was looking up. So Freddie Prinze Jr., who played Scooby-Doo, Freddy in Scooby-Doo, did a very long rant about Star Wars, which I recommend.
I was gonna make the joke that he was Freddy in Scooby-Doo because I assumed you were probably gonna have any other role than that one. So it just warmed my heart that you picked Freddie Prinze Jr.'s role as Fred. So. Please continue, but you just made my day.
Yeah. So Freddie Prinze Jr. has his own rant about Star Wars. That's almost what Mike said. I recommend. And fun fact, he married Daphne, which is very interesting.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, good
no,
for him.
Velma, but not bad.
I was thinking the same thing personally, but I mean, she was Buffy, so Buffy's pretty cool. I think it's a cool thing. Sometimes I would feel a little inadequate because I think when people get really into fantasy, they get really into fantasy. And I feel like I would be a foreigner at a DMV at some points of the class, but
that's fair.
I don't know.
I mean, we would keep it because it's about cinema, so I feel like most people would be drawn in like, oh, I like X movie or whatever, and then I think that would bring in a lot of people. I'd probably also have to have a smell test with this one.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll have to worry about all the things Lou had to with his class because, it's a little broader of a topic.
I don't know. I feel like we're sharing quite a bit of class, quite a bit of students here, Robert.
We could all three just do film classes. It sounds like.
I was gonna say all three of our number threes were
that was
screen based.
That was your number 4. So this is my number 3.
Oh, you're right. Well, my number 3 is also something watched on the TV, so it's all good.
All right, Mike. What is your number 3?
It would be another history class, and it would be the history of the NFL. I love football. I love the NFL. I love getting into documentaries about just all the great storylines and all the historic players and the different eras and the rule changes, and it has consumed hundreds of hours of my life, and I don't want a single minute of it back, except maybe that Browns-Ravens game from like 2014. That was brutal.
So you haven't watched enough
Ravens, then. I try not to most of the time, although they're good. They're a good watch, if nothing else, as of late. I find that fascinating, and I'm sure lots of other people would be down to take the class. It's one of those things that I would love to solidify and deepen my knowledge on, because right now I have a very strong, vague grasp of the history of the league. I know a lot more old school players than I guess the average person does, based on the Guinness commercial where some person about my age doesn't recognize Joe Montana. I was like, oh, hey, it's Joe Montana. And then this guy walks in and is like, oh, who are you, old man? And I was like, oh, no, is Joe Montana being forgotten? He was the GOAT until Brady came along. So, like, I don't know, put some
or something.
He's
yeah,
not Tim Tebow, I'll say that much.
He is not. That is true. Very different careers. He never had to try and come back as a tight end. But even that's a fun footnote. The Tim Tebow history in the league was brief, but it was fun. And then he came back and was on the Jaguars with Urban Meyer as a tight end.
Okay.
And Urban Meyer cut him.
I was going to say, he didn't make it past training camps.
That's just one of my favorite footnotes in the entire history of the league. It's just such a fun little tidbit. And, like, I want to know all of it, and I want to share that with people.
What would this final be like a 30-page dissertation on who the GOAT actually is?
No, it's Tom Brady for now. I don't think that's something you can argue. I don't like it.
Oh, clip it.
Yeah, by all means. I think Mahomes is on his way, and as long as I think he could very quickly come in and eclipse him, but he hasn't done it yet. He's got the potential. But I know enough about NFL history to know that your Montanas and your Aikmans come in and they win 3 or 4 rings, and you're like, oh, are they going to be a dynasty forever? And then they just kind of fall off. Part of what makes Brady the GOAT is that he essentially had 2 Hall of Fame careers, you know? He did what Aikman did twice. Joe Montana, incredible, won 4, but then you can't have that prolonged success. It's incredibly difficult. And so all these people who are like, Mahomes is going to be the GOAT, maybe. I would love to see it. I've been rooting for the guy since day one, but he's at this pivotal point that a lot of great quarterbacks have gotten to where they are like, okay, they're top 10, no question. I think based on his talent, top 2, no question. But to even come close to rivaling Tom Brady, you need to double what you done. Yeah, the GOAT, not a question. That's an easy one. As for what my final exam would be, I would probably have it be a paper. I wouldn't make it anywhere near as long. And I would just want you to pick. Honestly, I would just want an interesting paper. I would probably have. I would let I didn't do a lot of college. I didn't try very hard when I was in college, but I would let you pass your ideas by me until you had one that I was like, yeah, that's a good enough idea. So whether it be an examination of the Dolphins since Dan Marino left and just why they haven't been able to be successful, I think that'd be really interesting. Of course, the curse of Bobby Lane, very interesting topic to write about. The history of tanking for picks. That'd be kind of cool. Anything like that. You come up with a topic that you can convince me you're genuinely passionate about, and I will let you write however long the paper should be paper about that topic.
Well, I'm glad it's not 30 pages.
Yeah, your class still kind of scares me, Michael. I don't know why.
It's because I want you to be. It's because I'm one of those. I'm one of those. Going to be one of those teachers who's really passionate about his subject and wants my students to be there because they share that level of passion. I had a teacher in high school who told us about a professor she had who the final question on one of his exams was, tell me what you've learned in this class. Prove to me that you deserve this grade. And I was like, that man is an absolute bastard. What is wrong with him? But now I'm kind of like, I get it. Like, if it's a class that I'm teaching as a passion class, I want you to show me that you learned something, that you internalized it, that you're going to walk away with it. Not that you can just regurgitate some. Like, I want you to show up and engage with the class and actually learn, not just show up and be able to scratch some bubbles correctly.
Kind of taking a step back. One thing I know Brandon Perna did is instead of, GOAT as in greatest of all time, he likes to do GOAT as in greatest of their era. And I think that's a lot more interesting conversation than just, the greatest of all time. Because we don't know who's going to be in the future.
No, absolutely. We don't. And also, greatest of your era is a conversation you can actually have where it's like, greatest of all time so far, get out of here if you have anything other than Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I can't stand the guy, but it's no question it's him. I would love to just teach this class and talk about this.
Tell us how streaming is destroying the modern NFL. But before that, Lou, what is your number 3?
Man, what is wrong with you? I could talk about... Okay. I'm sorry. It's not. It's a good thing. Stop complaining, boomers.
So switch it up is how to be a bid guy. That would be my
Eat
number
a lot
3.
of food. That's how I did it.
You say a big guy?
A big guy, yeah. So I'm sorry,
Okay.
Mike. You could not join the class. There would be like a weight
You're not in
limit.
the big.
I could do
fast
it.
Club.
I could get there.
Is it like
yeah?
I
If you're
could
not
make weight.
to join the class? You have to go to the Heart Attack Cafe in Vegas and get free food. I think it's like 300 pounds.
I was thinking like 250 up. You know, I think that's considered a big guy if you're 250 and up.
Dude, I could get to 250 pretty
balls.
easy.
No balls.
How are you? What are you right now? 225.
Like 220. Yeah, I could put on 25 pounds.
No balls.
No,
30,
you could.
30,
And-
man.
I'm not saying it would be healthy, but I could do it.
Have you ever been 250?
No, I think the highest I've ever been was low 230s.
If this video gets one like, Mike will gain 30 pounds. Rob McKay style. No, I don't remember the actor's name from Always Sunny that like put on weight just
That's
for the point of it.
Yeah. You would have to drink ice cream. That's how he did it.
That's called a milkshake. I love milkshakes. I try not to eat milkshakes because I like them too much.
After this week, Mike's gonna be like, "How to put on 30 pounds?" That'd be my class right there.
The 3 things that I wrote down in class that I would do is dressing, making sure that you don't look dumpy. I feel like some people when they get so like I've been big all my life, but I can tell when somebody hasn't been big all their life by what kind of clothes they wear. It's pretty evident. And then I would do self-confidence. I think that would be a really big one. Like taking your shirt off in the pool, that kind of stuff. And then food would be, I feel like, a very passionate one for us. I would do a little mixture of like fun stuff, like what's your favorite snack, or why is this snack good, and then I would do hitting calories, things that you think is healthy for you is not really healthy for you, that kind of vibe. So yeah, a little mixture of both.
You get into the macros and everything.
Yeah, just a little bit. You know, like people, it's a really good like nuts, like trail mix. People think trail mix is like so healthy, but all type of nut is.
I mean, if you take out the candy, it's not bad for you.
No, it's not bad for you, but it's high in calories.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that if you're hiking, right? If
Yeah,
you're
exactly. That's
being
what it's
active.
for the trail.
Yeah. But if you're hiking a whole season of How I Met Your Mother, trail mix may not be the snack for you.
What would your final be?
It would probably be I did potluck already, so I don't know if I could do a potluck.
Whoever wins Chubby Bunny, and then you place the your rank them, and that's your grade.
Just fat shame them the whole time. Eat the donut. Oh, what I would do is I would put like a tray of donuts, and then I would say, "Don't touch the donut," and then I would leave the classroom.
Have a
And
hidden
see if
camera.
anybody have a hidden camera to see who touches the donuts, who eats the donut.
That's
That's what I would do.
I had some kid in high school that he was the biggest guy in our grade, and he ate the English teacher's donut one time because she wasn't in the room. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you did one." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're an idiot, dude."
Ooh.
Did he get like in trouble or?
He got roasted, and I still remember it now, but I don't. It was just like what's wrong with you, that type of thing. I mean,
Yeah,
You
yeah.
make him pay back the like $1 donut it was back then. Don't be that guy, Mike. What's your first step to being big?
Oh man, it would be cheeseburgers and milkshakes all the time. Cheeseburgers,
think
wings, pizza, milkshakes. I could get there.
You would get a heart attack before you get to 250. Like you've at 249.
I'll put lettuce on the burger. It's fine.
Oh, there we go. That will help the arteries. A little piece of lettuce.
So Lou, would you also have you said you kind of have like a how to lose weight too?
No, not necessarily. The whole goal for me is like I have no problem being a big guy. I just don't want to be a bigger guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
And so, I want you to be a big guy, but I want you to live till you're at least
40.
60, 70.
Oh.
Yeah. You want to cut me a little bit, but I respect that. It's so there's a way to be healthy and be big at the same time. Because I think naturally, and I can go on for this for a long time, but I think naturally some people just have bigger bodies. There's nothing, you can always lose weight, and I respect that for sure. But I've seen people lose weight way faster, and I've seen people have a hard time losing weight, and they're pretty much doing the same thing. I don't know. People can argue with me in the comments about that all they want.
No,
but
yeah, like everyone's body's different. Your metabolism's gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no one
Man,
step
you
away.
snowflakes. Everybody's body's exactly the same.
Wanna trade bodies?
There's a. That's why.
Actually, no. I'll say big. I like my eyesight.
There's one. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when. Shout out to all the big guys out
If you're a big guy, leave it. No.
there. Leave your favorite snack in the comments.
There we go. Let us know your snacks, and we'll try them. And let Lou know what frozen pizzas to get.
We're gonna get that going at some point.
So my number 2, also getting away from the screen, is music as counterculture, or as an alternative name to that, music as a form of protest.
I can't hit objection because I didn't add it to the list, but I had something similar that I considered. So you go ahead and talk about it, and then I'll chime in.
I just think it's very interesting, especially starting like in the 60s when it really became the quote-unquote counterculture, which people argue died by the end of the 70s. So that's why I also have like as a protest. But it's one of the most popular like ways of peaceful protest, I think. I just think it's very interesting, like how people go about the way they structure the song. What are they saying about it? How do they, write it? Like, what's their experience? And I think it's super interesting. I would definitely do one class on Jimi Hendrix and how he was like a veteran and everything, and how society really didn't like Jimi Hendrix, like the quote unquote like mainstream or the establishment, as you would say, did not like Jimi Hendrix. The man, and like his when he played his famous Star Spangled Banner song, that was actually a protest against the war of Vietnam, and that's why he uses like such weird distortion to make it sound like it's bombs like hitting the ground and everything. I love music, and for some reason I gravitate towards that side of music, and I think that would just be a really interesting class. I don't know as much about modern day music, like for protesting. I'm sure you can get some. I know like Eminem did a diss track against our former president and everything like that, but definitely into like mid 2000s, I like System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, that type of thing. We could go up to that far. And the final would just be choose one of your favorite musicians that went against the culture and the establishment and tell me how they influence society.
I love that. One of the classes I almost picked was the history of punk rock, which isn't exactly the same thing, but it is just I love that anti-establishment, just like you gotta get out the anger and just the frustration with society that is involved in a lot of my favorite punk bands.
Yeah, and so would have Nirvana on there.
Yeah, never liked Nirvana personally, but you gotta have them on the list for sure.
I agree that they're a little overrated, but I like Foo Fighters better than Nirvana.
Oh, no question.
Also, Nirvana, I think it's crazy how big Nirvana got when they only released 2 albums.
Yeah. Now I will say this.
Right. Yeah, he lied when he said he didn't have a gun.
Have you guys ever seen I want to say it was MTV, but the live performance of Smells Like Teen Spirit, where whatever station they were on wouldn't let them play it live? They were forcing them to lip sync, and so they intentionally were just doing it wrong or not putting any energy into it.
I have not seen that. I have to look it up.
Oh, dude, it's legitimately one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. They're all just standing there with flat hands over the guitar strings, just like sliding that up and down the neck. And like Dave Grohl, even on the slow parts, is just like beating the shit out of his drum set. He's going so hard on all the slow parts.
I love that.
They're just drawing attention to the fact that like, hey, this is all fake. None of this is real. It's all lip syncing, and it was beautiful. And I can't stand that song. If we did top overrated songs, that might be my number one. That might be my topic for next week. Now I can't stand the song, but because of that performance, it has a little soft spot in my heart.
Yeah, Weird Al does it better.
Yes,
so well. I love that one.
I am so against what you guys have been saying.
I bet you're losing a decent Nirvana fan, which is crapping on it.
I am losing my mind a little bit. Yeah. Have you guys seen? To change the subject a little bit, have you seen what's one of the bands that you said, Robert?
Foo Fighters?
No,
Nirvana, System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine.
One more. Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh, yeah.
Have you guys seen Rage Against the Machine where they're playing for a British television show and they weren't allowed to cuss? And they immediately started cussing, and then they just completely shut them off. It's super funny. I was just like, what did they guys think? Have they not understand what they believe in? Did they not listen to a lyric?
Yeah, I remember what my runner-up for my favorite professor. I don't know how it got up, but at one point he was playing the end of "Killing the Name of" the "F you don't I won't do what you told me." He was playing that in class during class time. I don't remember how we get that. Like throwing up middle fingers and just like yes.
One time, my dad caught me listening to that song, and then told me to take the trash out. And he was like, "Don't listen to them. Do what I tell you to do."
And you were like, "I won't do what you tell me."
I was definitely listened to their self-titled album this week, and me and YouTube Music are beefing over it. But yeah, it's a hit. It's a banger.
So that song, what is that? Killing the Name. Thank you. Jeez, my Killing the Name story is Lucas Rahill was.
Oh, we
you'll
talked
probably have
about
to bleep his last.
we talked about Rage in high school sometimes.
He was giving me a ride home from youth group when the three of us when we were all leaders back in the day. His little sister was in the back seat, and that song came on. I think it was from the lyrics were not radio censored, so it was definitely from his phone. And me and him just jammed out to the entire song full tilt. We still had like 10 minutes left on the drive, and Kaylee was like, "You guys shouldn't be singing that song." And for the rest of the drive home, me and Lucas were in a ferocious debate with Kaylee about like whether or not it was okay for us to be singing the song.
Wow, she's trying to
It
censor
didn't
art.
end with any kind of peace. Yeah, no,
You know,
it
the
was
last people that
like,
censored art, 1940s. No,
You're calling her Hitler?
no.
Oh no!
That's the implication.
Oh,
no. I do not think that.
no.
I just had it was for a joke. But Lou, I think you're gonna ask why me and YouTube Music are beefing over against that album.
Yes, I was.
So
Yeah.
the album cover for the self-titled album Rage Against the Machine is the famous picture of the monk that, burned himself alive in a protest. And so because of that, every single song it pops up like viewer discretion is advised. Are you okay with it? So it just every single song, you would think once you hit it like once, it would be good, but no.
Oh, you have to do. Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, we're beefing about. I've written them the support, be like, hey, can we just make this like once a month? Once a week thing. Why does it? Why is it every single time? And then they just say, "F you, I'm not doing what."
Send you back to.
I would
They just
respect them if they sent that, but
They just rickroll you.
there you go. Doo-doo. Mike, what's your number 2?
I don't know how to phrase it in such a way as to make it a class, but it would be some form of Minecraft class. Probably heavy on building, a decent amount of redstone, and maybe video production would probably be the 3 pillars. Was it last week that we did passion jobs?
Yes.
After last week, I was like, you know what, man, screw it. I do have all the things. I'm going to make a video. And so I made my first episode of a classic, kind of old school Minecraft one single player world video, and I had so much fun. And in the 24 hours that video has been up, I've already got more subscribers than my personal channel has got by double in the last decade. That's going pretty well. And yeah, I love building. I love the blending of art and math that comes with Minecraft building. I think redstone is fascinating, and I would love to understand the nuances better. I am having so much fun learning the replay mod and getting better with OBS and video editing in general, and using cinematic concepts like if the camera is panning right at the end of one scene, start the next scene panning right as well to make the transition smoother. And yeah, I'm having a blast. I'm having so much fun doing that. It's something I'm going to keep doing on the side. I'm sure we can link that channel in the description if you want to check it out. It's going to be chill vibes. If you get down with my overall aesthetic on the podcast, I'm sure you'll enjoy hanging out on the YouTube channel. And I think it'd be really fun to know how to do that really, really well, to the extent that I could teach others how to do it.
That's cool, man. I was wondering if what Robert had to say with you last week was like uplifting or kind of being mean about it, and I'm happy that he took it the right way.
I was trying to be uplifting with it. Sorry if it came
across.
across.
I thought he was. I thought that came across that way.
Good. Yeah, I think some people might not, generally, but I mean,
Tell those negative
y'all know
Nancy's
Robert.
to get out of here.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Robert. I also thought it was.
Mike, would you have to have like a computer lab for that class?
I suppose you would. Or, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I feel like if you're taking that class, you might have a computer that can handle the specs for Minecraft already. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe you'd have to do computer lab just to make sure everyone's on even footing. But yeah, final exam would have to be you create maybe a small redstone tutorial, and also, do a build. And maybe it'd make it a group project, and you'd have to run an SMP for a while and all produce a certain amount of content involved, and have collaborations and things like that. I'm not sure. I really didn't think about final exams until you started asking in front of the show, but it would probably be something to that effect. I'd make it a group project, and some kind of collaborative video making process within the game.
Build a simple redstone thing, and you expect them to recreate Pokemon Red.
You're right.
It's easy, right?
I'll tell you what, for all my desire to understand redstone really well, it does not go so deep that I want to know how to make computers in Minecraft.
Lou, what's your number 2?
Kind of a random one. It doesn't fit the rest of my list. I feel really passionate about it, especially with how expensive things are nowadays, is when you know you're getting hustled. I love a good deal, but I love more avoiding getting screwed over more than I love a good deal. And I think maybe I could talk about this for 13 weeks, maybe. I don't know. I have a pretty good story that's connected to it. Yeah, I might have to stretch it, but maybe it's like a summer. Maybe it's a summer thing. I don't know. I'm really passionate about it. So one time I was at Bear Lake, I met this girl, and I thought she was like really, really cool. I thought she was awesome. There was nothing between us or anything. We were just like really cool friends, and we hung out. And then maybe 3 years afterwards, I see a Facebook message says, if you need to make an extra $2,000 a month, let me know. I have a job for you. At the time, my wife
that
really
sounds
needed
legit.
It's yeah. Yes, that was the whole point of this. The whole point of the story.
OnlyFans,
But
right?
I thought no, OnlyFans wasn't a thing then. I mean, I wouldn't know when OnlyFans came out. But no, not OnlyFans. It's pretty much a pyramid scheme. I mean, if we want to jump to the I mean, I think we're all aware of what it was. My wife really needed a job because she was doing her internship. She wasn't making enough money to like afford things. And so I was like, "Hey, I met this really cool girl at Bear Lake. She's really awesome. I think she is honest. I think she's like a good to go. So let's talk to her and see if we can get you a job." We found out that she's selling insurance, but she spins it to where it feels like we were doing like people favors. Like we were like, I don't know, supporting our community, but ultimately it was just selling insurance to people. And I convinced my wife, who was pretty sure we were engaged at the time, to spend $300 to get insured so she could start doing the job. And then she spent the money, and then we found out that it was a hustle. So ever since then, I have really tried to avoid not getting scammed.
Do you remember the name of the insurance quote unquote company?
I don't know. I don't remember anything, to be honest with you.
Okay, because when I was working at Chili's, my girlfriend at the time worked at Starbucks, and she was like, "Hey, I got out of work early. Do you want anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, if you want to." Like, I'm at work. She was like, "I'll drop it off." I was like, "Yeah, let me get an iced coffee." And she dropped the iced coffee, and I pounded it thinking it was an iced coffee. But to be nice, she brought me a Starbucks double shot over ice, which is like 3 shots of espresso, not 1 cup of iced coffee. And so I hadn't eaten that morning, so that caffeine just went right into my bloodstream. I was bouncing off the walls. I did so much side work, and just like I couldn't stand still. I was just doing any job I could get my hands on. And one of my tables was like, "Man, I've been watching you work today." I was hosting that day, just some random table. Stopped me and was like, "I've been watching you work today. I really like your work ethic. I would love to interview you. Do you want a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And it was that same thing where he was trying to get me to, quote, sell insurance for him. But it's just a pyramid scheme of insurance selling. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been there.
It'd be crazy if it was the same person or the same thing.
Well, it was an older dude, so it would be really crazy.
And I wonder how many companies out there are doing the exact same thing, trying to hustle people off.
There was a energy drink type thing. I remember in high school, some guy was in on for it was a pyramid scheme, but it was like selling energy drinks type thing. And oh my gosh, he wouldn't shut up about it.
It's called that's multi-level marketing, and I think I could be wrong, but I think it works. It's structured the same as a pyramid scheme, but there's at least a real product. And so it's like, even if you're not selling enough of the product, you're at least just buying an energy drink. So if you like the product, it's not
That's fair.
that big a deal, and then you just got to find more people to sell under you and continue the pyramid. But at least there's a real product being sold.
The 3 things I would talk about is food, brands, and people. And I think brands is a really good one because I think as we get older, we always think that the more expensive a brand, for me, I won't say for everybody, for me, growing up, I thought the more expensive the brand, the better the quality of the thing. And that is far from the truth, which is super sad. We would just go over different brands and like vacuum cleaner, what is the best vacuum cleaner, bang for your buck, that kind of thing. It could be fun, or it just could, it could be fun. Who knows?
Don't buy from those internet websites that always offer you crazy deals.
Yeah, those
Well, I was going to say, they're getting big.
They're getting big.
I don't want to beef with them. I don't want them to come after us.
Yeah, I was looking for an espresso machine. I really want a really good espresso machine. And there was a website that was selling one for half the price that it usually goes for. I like looked at the website and it was a completely fake website. You give them their money and you get nothing back.
Oh.
Did you say what the final would be, Lou? I'm sorry. Short-term memory
Oh
loss.
no. I guess maybe like a price comparison on your favorite thing. I don't know. I don't know why I want this to be a class. I'm just super passionate about people getting what they pay for. You guys like got any ideas?
You could get some kind of computer programming class for one of their, like you could team up with one of the professors in the computer lab to get them to create a giant online marketplace, but it's just for test, like it's a simulated
It's
marketplace.
like the phishing tests, but a scamming test.
Yeah, but like instead of it being emailed to you, it's like, okay, here's a fake budget and here's all the things you have to get, and then see how well I've taught you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good
I like
idea.
that a lot.
My number one, I think it would be pretty popular now, but it's probably going to change in a year or two, at least, the basis of it. That is the basics of D&D 5th edition.
Ooh.
That's fun. So you're just running a campaign.
No, so it'd be kind of showing up. We first talk about, how is the game played, general rules and things like that. And then kind of like go into DMing, which I definitely just almost copy and paste from like Matt Colville's huge archive of DMing tips and things like that. I think one of the fun classes...
Dude, it's definitive, man.
Yeah, I think one of the fun classes could be going over the different types of D&D players, which he outlines 9 of them, so you can kind of tell like what people are and like what they enjoy and kind of gear it towards that. And it's a pretty well encompassing list. I have them if you guys.
Oh, bring it on!
All right,
rapid fire.
So the 9 different types of D&D players. There's the power gamer, which they just like to make the most powerful person possible. There's the butt kicker. They like combat and just like to kill things. The tactician is
Very nice way of putting it.
Yep, the tactician is they always want to optimize and find the best way to do things. Specialist, they like playing the same character in every campaign, and it tickles their fancy. Actor, really into role playing. I'll leave it there. There's the Wang Rod, which is I'm going to cause chaos even if it upsets other people. So they're kind of like the a-hole of the group. The storyteller, it's the better the story is, the more fun I have. There's the audience member who just likes to kind of show up and play games with friends, but it's perfectly fine just watching, which is a very valuable thing. If that's what you're into, that's fine. It's honestly pretty easy for DMs that way. And lastly, the mad scientists. They just want to do whatever they can, do whatever's possible.
I approve. I think that's actually a fairly comprehensive list too.
Mm-hmm. And you do mix and match some, but that's like the general types. So I think as a DM, it's really good to know that if a player isn't talking very much, maybe they just enjoy watching things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then for the final, be really easy. Make me a one-shot, and that's it.
Love it.
And in fact, we could even have it, if I want to be really lazy and make the students feel empowered, I could have them submit it a couple weeks before, and then for the last class, people play the one-shots and rate them that way. That would be, here we go, give the students some power.
But you don't want any wang rods in there messing it up.
It's true. Well, I'd probably curve it. And they would submit it to me first, and I can read it. So if everyone's just like, oh, we hate this person, F, you can look at it and be like, oh, no, that's
fair.
A decent one. Like I said, I think they're coming out. They don't call it 5.5, but the internet calls it 5.5. It's coming out, I think, this next year or the next couple of years. So it could change, but every edition has its fans. I know Mike's uncle will not play anything that isn't 3.5, correct? Or is it just 3?
Yeah, honestly, I heard I'm not playing 5, and I just was like, all right, man, that's whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because if it's not compatible, whatever, we'll move along.
Yeah, I just think that I like D&D, and the hobby is exploding right now, and I think that it'd be a pretty popular class. Might also need a sniff test, as many of our classes.
That's fair. Quick question for the toppers. Let us know below if Rob, Lucian, and I got together and started building modules that you could play, because Rob and I have both DM'd. I've played some of his one-shots. They're pretty good. I like to think my stuff is pretty good, and Lou's dream job is to be a video game consultant, so he could give us some good input. Yeah, we could start putting some stuff together. If that interests you, that'd be something we could do on our free time.
Real.
And, we could make the first couple free. If they do well, then maybe, Moneyman Rob gets involved and starts putting a paywall on it. But, for now, if there's interest, if they will come, we will build it.
Just don't drink the conspicuous wine.
Jacob.
Mike, what's your number one?
A comprehensive course on the Harry Potter books. I have made no secret of the fact that I love these books. I read these books all the time, and I love reading through these books just to answer one question. I don't know if you guys remember when the internet went crazy about the whole debate about whether or not Hermione was black. I read through the entire series just paying attention. Well, I mean, not just. I just love the series, but I paid specific attention to anything in the text to kind of let that would shed light on whether or not she was. And the final consensus, maybe. Like, I think there's a very real case to be made, but there's also a very real case to be made going the other way. And I thought that was a perfectly good use of my time. I don't want any of that time back. I'm happy with how that time was spent. And that is not the only time I've read through just to answer one little question. And so I think it'd be really fun to build a syllabus of things that people have debated within the series, but also to examine it from a literary perspective. I think there's so much. I think I could make multiple classes, to be perfectly honest, about the Harry Potter books. But for the sake of the podcast, we're just going to have one comprehensive class on Harry Potter.
One thought I had, and you can tell me if this is just stupid, but you could have like each group break off into the houses and then like give points throughout the semester, and whichever house has the most, they get like 5 extra credit, 5 extra credit points or something. I think that'd be fun.
That would be, I love that. It would make the final grade feel a little subjective, but I'm okay with it if it's not a huge amount of...
Why does Slytherin keep winning every semester?
Right?
I think you should throw a giant poisonous snake in the middle of the class and then lock the doors.
Figure out who's Christian and who's not. What?
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 Exactly.
What would the final be? Is Hermione black?
No, that's way too vague. I think it would be another, kind of like with the NFL, I would just want a paper on an approved topic. Or maybe I would make a massive question with multiple choice and fill in the blank and some essay questions. I think that would be I would have a lot of fun just building an absolutely massive exam, just a test. My heart goes out to people who are bad at testing, but building that test sounds fun to me. So, sorry.
That's fair.
No, I understand. Like, I feel bad. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, it sucks that one of the methods of evaluation we use is something that some people are naturally better at than others.
The main method.
Yeah, the primary method. But also, life's not fair, and anyone who tells you different is selling something. So,
does anybody want a peanut?
I refuse to watch that movie with people because every time I have, people are quoting the movie about 5 seconds before the line comes. And I'm like, I want to watch the movie. I don't want to see your recreation of it.
That's fair, actually.
So that's the only one I do. I don't do the classic one.
Mike, how many times do you think you've read through the Harry Potter series? Do you think you're able to give a ballpark answer?
It's easily 25.
Wow.
I mean, it's almost exclusively audiobook. And I skip 1 and 2 a lot. I put them down at least once or twice a year since I was 15. 30 now, so 25 feels pretty reasonable. And there have definitely been years where it's more than 2.
One last thing I'll say, Cantwell, thank you for the Order of the Phoenix. He knows. Lou, what's your number 1?
It has nothing to do with my hobbies. Everything to do with something that I'm super passionate about is How Not to Be an Asshole 101.
Brilliant.
Super
Mike
passionate about it.
right away.
I think there are a ton of people who need to take my class. Damn near want to say it's a mandatory as a freshman, but I will pass on. I will not say that. I was listening to a podcast, and I can't remember which one it is. They were saying that you just don't wake up and become an asshole. Over time, without checking your thoughts, you become that person. And I just don't think a lot of people check their thoughts very well. And I want to just help people not become assholes. The 3 things that I would put in my agenda or my curriculum is driving, the use of the internet, and simple interactions when upset. Those are the big ones that I would talk about. And then for my final, it would be like an obstacle course, kind of like driver's training. We would
An emotional obstacle course.
yeah.
I love it.
It'd be like if you fail, you just have to restart. You can take the class. You can take the test as many times as you want.
It's not only mandatory; it's mandatory every single year you're in college.
You can speedrun it if it's your 3rd time.
I think the world could use that.
I think so too. Would you guys take it?
I would absolutely take that class.
I'd take it if you were teaching it.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like if an asshole was teaching the class, it would be.
Or just like,
I
you
don't
know,
know,
the dry professor. First rule to not being an asshole. Be kind.
I had a freshman 101 class my freshman year, and we were talking to Mike about this, and I was thinking I had a question for my professor, and I sent him an email, and then he said that he wouldn't answer my email because it wasn't formatted the way that we
Oh
learned
my
in class.
gosh. Screw that guy.
And I immediately just didn't care. I just took the grade, whatever. I took the consequence. I don't even know what it was connected to, but this is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, let us know which of our classes you would take and who do you think would be the best professor for that class. Mike, what are we talking about next week?
Well, I have nothing prepared, so we're going to go with top 5 overrated songs.
That was going to come one day, but not today. Here we are.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Top Podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review and leave a comment, and you can get points for being the top topper. If you're listening on YouTube, please give us that usual like, comment, and subscribe. We know you hate to hear it, and we hate to say it, but it does help a lot. Other than that, hope you guys have a great day, and happy Detroit Day. Even though you're not listening to this on Detroit Day, but have a good one.
Put the cookie down! Now!
The greatest glory in living lies not to never fail, and rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela.